using it. And after this call started, Doug really started pressing us to track everything that comes in. And so I pulled this thing back out, and it's just it's a visual for me that just helps me see exactly who is referring, where they're coming from, if they're realtors or builders or previous client referrals, and then it also breaks out percentage-wise, you know, whether it's a purchase or refi, and I really try my best to keep the majority of my business as purchase and not focus on the refi. But you'll see, starting from the left there, client name, phone number, email address, the type of transaction it is, who it's referred by, and all that stuff. And my formulas over on the left-hand side, Doug, if you'll scroll over that way, they are all tied in to that information that I enter over on the right. So it tells me, you know, based on the realtors that I'm working with, who's referring, what percentage of my business is coming from them. And I have them split up in what I call channel accounts or accounts, and that's kind of, I got that terminology from the core. I'm trying to go more towards the mortgage marketing animals, which is whales and tunas and tilapia and all the different stuff. But this was originally how I had it set up. So you can see I have 3 accounts listed there: Corey, David, and Sharon. But you know, those are guys that I've closed at least 4 transactions with. But it's also let me know, you know, those guys haven't sent me many deals lately. But then you'll see below, and all those other names, they're just people that are top 50, or people that have referred me, or I've closed up to 3 deals. Prospects, maybe listing agents that that have been on one side of the transaction or another, and now I'm calling on those guys. And then the third column, the drip only, are people that I may have just done business in the past, but after doing some research, I just don't feel like they are worth a call a week or even a call a month. So I tend to touch base with those guys once every quarter, and I have all these guys typed into my phone burner account to where I know when to call them and you know, when not to call them. So like that drip only campaign, I've got them to call in not Salesforce, but in phone burner once a quarter, and then the prospects are once a week, and the top 50 is once a week that I touch base with those guys. But this has been phenomenal in helping me grow my business and get better control of all these leads, and make sure I'm not losing deals that I just absolutely forget about.
Well, I want to jump in here real quick. The fact that you're tracking your business is phenomenal. What I find that is exceptional is the fact that you keep tabs on all the names and all the people that you have associated yourself with. Can you help maybe some of us on the call understand why you find it so valuable to track all of the intricacies of the people that you are trying to align yourself with that send you business? Why is that so important?
Well, it helps me to know who to focus on, and also it helps me to identify, you know, a couple of months ago we talked about a majority of my leads were coming from this one realtor, and it helped me identify that, whoa, that's a good thing, but it's not a good thing to have all your eggs in one basket, because relationships can end in a heartbeat. I mean, the lady's brother could get in the business and suddenly I'm out. So it just helped me identify who I need to focus on, who I need to put in my birthday program, which is, you know, sending out a little cupcake to my top referral partners and top closing partners. And it just also helped me to focus on who not to call. That was probably the most enlightening thing, is who not to call. I was spending a lot of time on people that just couldn't produce the number of leads that I needed to get from them. I was chasing a lot of tilapia, is what the mortgage marketing animals refer to them as, just people that just don't do enough business to justify your calling on them every week. It doesn't hurt to call on them, you know, once a quarter, just to say, hey, I'm still here, let me know if I can help, but it doesn't justify calling these guys every week and begging for business because they don't have the business to give you.
Right. Is it gratifying? I mean, would you look at this document once every couple weeks, or do you look at this document once a week? Is this something that you only open up when you feel like you need to look at it?
You know, when I turn on my computer, it's the first thing I open up every morning, and
Why do you do that?
Well, if you look at the color coding there, anything in yellow means that I still have an opportunity to go after them and get a deal from them. So every morning I look, and it's encouraging to me to see all the yellow. Now the bluish deals are deals that I have now pre-approved and they are looking. So I touch base with those guys once a week to see how they're coming. But the yellow guys, I'm touching base with every couple of days just to see what we can do to get a loan application. So if it's not the first thing I open, it's the second thing I open. It's open on my desktop every day, all day long. So as I get a new call, it goes on there immediately.
If you were to paint a picture of a CEO of a company who was asked specific questions about the financials of his business or the success of his business, or you were to ask someone who just got started out in business, who do you think is more apt to have accurate details about their business?
Who? What do you mean who?
Of the two individuals, somebody who tracks their business or somebody who doesn't track their business, who do you think is perceived as a better business owner and a better or a much more engaged business owner?
Oh, I absolutely be the guy that tracks his business and where it's coming from.
So my question then to anybody in our industry is that if you're not tracking your business and you're expecting to close 7 to 10 to north of 10 loans a month, we can't think about our business as a 1 to 2 closing a month shop and expect to close 7 or more a month. The process of tracking our business and where it comes from and what it actually is, and our conversion rate, which means how many leads come in versus how many into applications, are key pieces of the business, because it's training your brain to think like a business owner and not like a loan officer. Because in order for you to start your day and to figure out where your time is best spent, you need to have a game plan or at least an overview of where your time is required. And so these lead trackers, Mark, yours especially, is phenomenal at that. I think in less than 2 minutes you can decide who are the top people that you need to be in connection with that day, whether it's your clients or your top 50. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Awesome.
And I tell you what, Doug, you know what production looked like when I first started with this, and
can I open it up?
I'm excited. It wasn't that good, but I'm excited to let you guys know that I've got 6 in processing right now for September closes at $1.1 million, and that's not even close to what I was doing in April, May when we started.
Well, here, hey Mark, let's look at it. Here's your May lead tracker. Look at all those reds.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have June. Look at all those reds, which means that you were getting a lot of leads, but you weren't getting a lot of referrals.
Yeah.
July, look at that. July is when it took hold. I think July is when you had your Come to Jesus meeting, and your life and your business completely turned around.
Yep, that's right.
And then you look at August, and here we are in August, and I love the progress that you're making, and I love the conversations that we've been having. But for the 2 new guys, Richard and Mike, the whole point of this isn't to reinvent the wheel. We're not telling you things that you guys probably don't already know or do. It's more or less just being accountable to doing it. In a lot of ways, I grew up playing video games. I grew up playing video games at arcades, and then it morphed into video games that I brought home. But one of the things that I learned, that when you play video games at levels 1, 2, 3, and 4, it requires a different mindset to play at levels 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then even more of a change in mindset if you were to go from 9, 10, and 11 to what we would call an expert level. So my question to anybody that isn't doing this on a daily basis and wants to close a certain number of loans beyond 3 to 4 a month, my question is, what are your processes, or what are you doing every day to think about and act like a business owner to be able to, to be able to accomplish that? the same processes or the same mindset that you have to start a game isn't necessarily the same mindset that you got to have when you want to become an expert at it. And so I would look at each one of you and ask, if this is intriguing to you, I would love to be able to have you guys continue on this path with us, because at the very least, it allows you to put on paper what your business truly looks like every single day, and you don't have any other ways around guessing or sidestepping the realities that if your lead tracker only has 2 leads on it and it's the 20th of the month, well, we know where your strengths are and we know where your weaknesses are. And that's really the purpose of this call. What has evolved from a lead tracker conversation that we have here, it's turned into really focusing on this part. Hey, Ryan?
Yes, I'm here, Doug.
Can you talk a little bit about how the last call went last week about and this is the column right here, column C, the CCR. And for the 2 gentlemen on the call, Mike and Richard, CCR stands for current client referrals. And if you don't mind, Ryan, can you talk a little bit about what we were discussing and what it is about current client referrals that we're trying to understand?
Sure, absolutely. Welcome to the call, gentlemen. My name is Ryan. I've been with the company for about 1.5 years and absolutely love it here. But nevertheless, I was always intrigued by current client referrals for the sole reason that I had none. And in speaking with Doug previous to these phone calls, I knew that he built a business solely on client referrals and past client referrals. And I knew he built a pretty successful business at it. So I knew this was something that I needed to implement for my business, but just really didn't know how to go about it without turning my current clients away or, sounding too salesy. So my mentality was, do a really good job during the loan process, and then, let them know at the end of that process if they know of any friends or family that are looking to purchase, refinance, refer my way. The same basic pitch that I think any banker or broker uses. Last week, Doug started to get into kind of the meat and gravy in the mindset of how it's a process of changing at least our thinking, my thinking, and this is something that's done through the whole loan process, is looking for those referable moments, starting from the first conversation. Very different from what I'm used to. It is good time. I have actually tried to implement it with 2 people that came to my office this week. One thing was I used to never have clients come into my office. I would take the application over the phone, and now I'm actually trying to get to a face-to-face from the very start to implement those referral moments. But it was difficult not to have them open up their documents and pull credit right away because I'm so used to doing that. And to sit back and have a conversation with them, but more importantly, tell them a little bit about me and my business. It was definitely foreign. I'm not going to say the conversation went extremely smoothly. I mean, I'm sure they had no idea that I was uncomfortable, but nevertheless, it is going to take some time to learn how to do that on a more casual basis.
Can you tell me a little bit about why do you think working on your current client relationships is so vital?
Well, I mean, you gave me the statistics, Doug. If that is true, that 60% of our clients will refer you if you ask them. Out of every 10 deals, I can potentially pick up 6 new ones and possibly close, 3 or 4 of those. So I'm leaving a ton of money on the table by not implementing this.
Well, let's take it a little past that, because yes, that's a very valuable point. But let's get into what you guys do every single day. You guys are out there trying to knock on doors and create relationships that will provide you an opportunity to get new business. Why then do we overlook the people that already know us, like us, and trust us? Why are we not, and Richard, you sent me an email today, I'm looking for that low-hanging fruit for the month of September. And that's exactly what everybody would love to have every single day. My business, fortunately, 2 years ago when I took a step out of it, I left a business that was nothing but low-hanging fruit. I didn't spend any time cold calling realtors. I didn't spend any time cold calling financial planners or CPAs. My ability to articulate my requests and my requirements to work with me basically promoted itself. I was getting phone calls from financial planners and CPAs and past clients and current clients and realtors who had been endorsed from one of the people that I'd done business with already. And the beautiful part about it is that I never had to worry about going out there and soliciting myself to somebody else. Now, Ryan, you spent a good part of your business in the early years doing that, basically going out there convincing people to work with you. I was never good at that, and that's never been one of my strong suits. And so I'm not saying that this process is the end-all, the be-all, but if we're ever looking at trying to get what's called low-hanging fruit, this is it. These people that are on your lead tracker, from Garcia all the way down to Decoa, or whatever, however you pronounce that, every single one of those people was brought into your business as a referral. Therefore, they already understand the power of a referral. Why won't we or don't we leverage that relationship to have them become an advocate of our business? Can anybody give me a reason that we wouldn't want to spend more time developing skills around that? Does everybody like going out knocking on doors to realtors that don't know them already?
No, it's brutal.
Richard, do you enjoy doing it?
It's brutal is putting it lightly.
Hey, Mike, what about you, buddy? Do you enjoy going out there and meeting people and cold calling on them? Mike? Oh, I think Mike may have bailed on us. Okay, no worries. So, Richard, you obviously know that if you're trying to find the low-hanging fruit, I'd be curious to know how many deals that you've currently got in the pipeline and how many people you've spoken to this month. So do you think that it would be reasonable to ask you that if you wanted to join us next week, that you could complete a lead tracker if I sent it to you and have you track all the people? And gentlemen, you can help me out on this. What do we define as a lead? What are the requirements in order to put somebody on a lead tracker?
It's basically a person that you speak with in regards to a mortgage and have, more than a 1 or 2 minute conversation with them.
Right. But it also means that you've got a phone number, you've got an email address, you've got some details about them. And so right. I basically put everybody that I've ever had a conversation with that I could get a phone number, name, and a conversation about what it is that they're talking about as it relates to a loan. I put them on my lead tracker. I don't care if it was a dead deal before I took their information. I still put it on there because it helps track my average.
Mm-hmm. No, Richard, it's a great tool. It's a great tool. The fact that you guys have it created, I'd love to do it.
Well, you can choose from the simple one that Ryan and I have always grown up with, or you can use Mark's, who's the overachiever of the team.
I like Mark's version only because it gives me more data.
Right. Well, be careful with that, Richard. That means you've got to fill out the data. You've got to make sure that you're putting those things on there. Yeah. So the whole point of this.
Once you change those names to match the formulas, then when you enter the person that referred it to you, it automatically moves it over into into the right column. Right. So it was a little time consuming up front, but boy, it's very handy for me.
Right. Awesome. So let's kind of get into the whole premise of what we've gotten this this conversation into. And so what we're really talking about here now is orchestrating referable moments. Is that correct?
Yep.
That's essentially what we want. So I'm going to share with you guys. So I don't know if any of you guys have seen my business card, but what's on the screen right now is what my business card looks like. And I've discussed with all of you, if not, I think most of you, what the triangle of trust business means. Richard, do you know what that means? Have I ever explained that to you?
You've shared it slightly with me, but by all means, if you got any other input on it, love to hear it.
Well, the whole triangle of trust practice for me means that I serve 2 relationships every time I get a chance to work with you. I serve the relationship that brought you to me, and I serve you. But my #1 priority is to make sure that whoever referred you to me, that you go back to them and say thank you. As much as I want to earn your business, I don't necessarily need it. I've built up a very good practice, and I love working with people that I want to work with, but my #1 concern isn't whether or not I get a mortgage from you. It's whether or not you go back to that person that brought you to me and say thank you. So rest assured that everything that we discussed today is going to be centered around what your goals, your wants, and your needs and desires are, because at the end of the day, you have to be thrilled with what I'm offering to you in order for you to A, want to work with me, and B, be able to go back to that referable, that referring source and say thank you. And so that triangle of trust is designed to institute a conversation, much the same way as the back of my business card. And the reason that it's on the back of my business card is because it gives me another opportunity to have people say to me, hey, you have a business card. And I give them my card, but I flip it over immediately and I go, hey, what's on the front of my business card is my name. What's on the back of my business card is why you want to work with me. And it's just another way to orchestrate and to create and to set that stage that we're all trying to create for our clients, so that from the moment that they start talking to you or know about you, they're already framing you in a different light. Every one of us runs into clients that have a perception that has already been formed based on somebody else's explanation or their own personal experience before they come to you. I assume that from the moment that I talk to somebody, they're skeptical. But I also assume that from the moment I open my mouth, that I have the ability of altering that perception around the way that I want them to view me. Does that all make sense to everybody?
No, that's a good point.
Yep.
Okay. So the purpose of the business card is yet just another simple way that I've created a way to be able to orchestrate that conversation. So one of the things that I did with Alan when he was working on my team, when he was managing, as he managed my team, so we started to create these little videos. And this little video is a shot of how we differentiate ourselves and how we can create referable moments. And all I'm going to ask from you guys is during this quick little video, tell me if you think this is a wow moment or if you think that this is nothing special. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations, guys. Got your appraisal report back today. Came in at values. As we discussed, this is one of the biggest hurdles we're going to come across. We've made it over that hurdle. So, furthermore, I was looking through the appraisal report, saw some of the pictures. What a gorgeous, gorgeous home. I'm so excited for you guys to move in here. Don't forget about me for that housewarming party, okay, guys? Look for a copy of this report in your email. You should get that in the next 24 to 48 hours from one of our teammates. As you guys go out talking to your friends, family, and coworkers about this new home, if we've done good for you guys, if you think we've done good for you so far, please don't keep us a secret. We count on you guys as our clients to keep our business going. If you have any questions, like I said, give us a call. Otherwise, we'll be in touch soon. Thanks so much.
So what do you guys think of that video as an appraisal call? Instead of them just getting an email or a phone call, Alan sends out a video. Notice how it was generic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's an impactful message, or do you think that's kind of a ho-hum, everybody does this kind of thing?
No, nobody does that. I don't know of anybody that does that.
Ryan,
it's very impressive.
Ryan? Oh, Ryan left, okay. Well, everybody's dying off. I wonder what's going on. Richard, what do you think, buddy?
Love them. I have 4 in the works. One for the appraisal, the do's and don'ts, the LE, and the closing document.
Awesome. What do you do with that video?
I know what I've got it timed with my assistant on a timeline as to when to get it out to reiterate my face and voice with those messages as opposed to just an email that I could make in a signature.
Okay. When you create these videos, as you're creating these videos, can you tell me what the message is that you're trying to send to your clients?
Honestly, nothing relevant other than the fact that the material just needs to be said and it's repetitious, but more importantly that they see the face and the name again.
Okay.
For example, the appraisal opportunity, hey, don't do this, don't do that. Instead of just giving them a checklist of do's and don'ts, I like having my name, my face visually there for them to have another format of how to interact with me, just separate from email or a phone call.
Do you think that you have the right to be able to ask your clients the way that Alan did for a referral in that conversation?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you set the stage appropriately in the beginning of your relationship so that it doesn't feel awkward to them when you ask?
Working on that. I mean, just honest. That's a tool in the toolbox that constantly I think needs to be sharpened.
Hey, Mark, could you do me a favor? Can you explain a little bit about what we discussed last week as it relates to setting the stage in your initial consultation?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's been a total change in the way I go about my initial consultation with people. But we talked about last week. You know, there's 4 things that people can do after you have your initial consultation with them, or your initial conversation about why you're doing what you're doing. And but the things were 4 things the borrower can do nothing. They can go with you. They can go with an internet lender, or they can what was the other one, Doug? I'm forgetting the 4th one.
Their local bank. Their bank they deal with now.
Go to the big bank. Yeah, go to the big bank where they're just a number. And so we talked about, you know, just in the initial conversation, telling people why you do it, and if you decide to work together. And that was the biggest, I think, enlightening thing to me is I'm not only interviewing, or I'm interviewing you to decide whether or not I want to take you on as a client, and you're interviewing me to decide if you want me to be your mortgage lender. And you know, I'd always look at that as a one-sided deal. I'm trying to get you to do business with me, yet I really need to be interviewing you to see if I want to do business with you. And so that's
and
just
what was
been
that? What does that statement? What does that statement give you, Mark? Why is that statement so powerful for you?
It makes me feel more valuable versus just being a loan officer that's throwing out a loan. It makes me feel more valuable and more of a consultant versus
an order taker.
Yeah, rather than an order taker and one of 400,000 loan officers that's registered in the country. So it just makes you feel more empowered to be able to say, and this is part of why I like my lead sheet and my commission tracker and all that, is I can say, you know, I average $200,000 on each loan amount, and I do 10 to 15 loans per month. My goal is $2 to $2.5 million a month. Therefore, I take on only about 10 to 15 clients per month. If you and I choose to work together, you're going to have an incredible experience. And I go in, but I let them know if we decide to work together, not if you choose me type of a, you know, peon type conversation. It's if we choose each other, you're going to have a great experience.
I'm going to take that statement just a little bit farther down the pipeline because I think it's also relevant. When you get that mutual agreement to say whether or not listen, it's called the permission to reject you. I'm okay, Mr. and Mrs. Client, with you not wanting to work with me. I know that I'm not a perfect fit for everybody. But if we decide to work together and if you choose to want to work with me, there are going to be things that I'm going to expect of you just the same that are things that you're going to expect of me. I think that kind of presentation sets the stage for those moments that we all have in every transaction, that we have to come in and readjust expectations, that we have to go in there and ask for things that might be uncomfortable, but knowing that they've agreed to work with you, not because you sold them, not because you convinced them, not because you manipulated them, but because you gave them the free option of either saying no to you or yes to you, and they chose the yes to you. which puts you in the consultative role that a lot of times we fail to capitalize on, and why we fail at adjusting expectations as the process unfolds. Because we come from a place of, I've got to earn this business. I've got to do this because they're my client. Where in reality, we're not the tail wagging the dog. We are the dog wagging the tail. And we have to convince them that we are the consultant and we are the, we're the doctor in this conversation. We are your attorney in this conversation. We're not trying to be your friend. We're trying to explain to you that we are the ones that are having to take control over what's been going on. Mark, you frame it perfectly about your little airline flight. It's the same kind of concept. If you agreed to board my plane, you're going to have to follow my instructions. You're going to have to follow my rules and regulations that we have to adhere by. I think if you say it any other way, you come from a position of weakness. When you come from a position of strength and power, not only are you respected, but I think the information that you disseminate to them, they take it more seriously, and they recognize that you're not just blowing smoke or you're not trying to sidestep things. Does that make sense? Because I know we've all been in those type of situations before.
Yeah, I mean, that's just been life-changing for me in regard, I don't know if that's the right word for it, just a whole different, it's a paradigm shift on the way you approach people. And now, Doug, I'm trying to take that, you and I had the role play on I don't know what day it was last Friday. And so I'm trying to take that now and obviously build on that, but also come up with some sort of the same thing that I use for realtors. And, now it's not just, do business with me. It's, if I choose to do business with you, if I choose to allow you to be on, part of my flight team, because it's important who I work with.
Correct. Because at the end of the day, everything we're discussing is about your reputation. Your relationships are vital. Your reputation is the only reason your business is going to continue to grow, regardless of how you want to build it. Your reputation is what's going to help or hurt you. And so I think it's very, very important that we be clear with our clients that if their expectations of us are unrealistic, or if they're expecting things that are not reasonable, we have to really seriously take the inventory of why we want to take them on as clients. And that's where it comes back to the want versus need. There's a lot of people out there that need the business, and they're willing to sell their souls to the devil to get it. And we've all seen those good faith estimates. There's also the mindset where we want your business. I've never looked at a client and said, I need your loan because I have to make enough money to eat this month. I've never put myself into that position, and I'm not saying that people aren't in that position, but when you come across that way, that's when you feel salesy. That's when you become that used car salesman, or you're viewed as somebody who's desperate. And desperate people don't make for great consultants. Is that something everybody can relate to?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So going back to this whole process of why we talk about setting the stage in the very beginning, why we use the language that we use, why I use the videos, why I use the business card, the why I communicate the way that I do, is because as your clients go through the process, there's a part in our brain called the reticular activator. Has anybody ever heard that term before?
Yeah.
Okay. Does hey Richard, what kind of car do you drive, buddy?
Oh, come on,
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, that 911 Carrera?
Stop. No, actually, it's a VW Passat. The wife is the one with the Beamer.
Yeah, is it the diesel, the TDI?
Yeah.
Oh, love that car. 43 miles to the gallon, I bet, right?
Yeah, yep. Easily. I get close to 750, 775 out of the tank.
God, that's insane. That's awesome. That's awesome.
It is a little crazy sometimes.
The point is, how many other diesel VWs do you see out on the road?
Now?
Yeah.
Now that I'm looking for them, plenty, but before I never noticed them.
How many BMW X5s do you see on the road?
With dual exhaust V8s with the 4.8, none.
Yeah, that's my truck, right. None. The point.
The one like yours,
right. Yeah, that's mine. The point is that the reticular activator is the filtration system that our mind uses to keep what's relevant into our life, even though we're bombarded with thousands upon thousands upon thousands of subliminal messages every single day. The point of the reticular activator is that when somebody goes to buy a house or they're involved in the process, this is the time that they are the most susceptible to hearing conversations, openly discussing, and actually communicating with other people about their home buying process, whether it's their home, whether it's their inspector, whether it's the lender, whether it's the realtor, whomever. The point is that if we're not capitalizing on our current clients, we're missing out on 60% of our database as opportunities to get new business. And Ryan was 100% accurate. The reason why that percent is so high is because that's the time that most people talk about their home. The language that Al used when he created that video about now when you're talking to people about your home, because let's be honest, once the appraisal is ordered, there's that waiting period of anxiety, because if the home doesn't appraise, it can change the whole outcome of the entire process. The opportunity to leverage the relationship during the appraisal process is so key, because it can be a huge celebration or it can be an opportunity for you to show up and be that consultant that you promised them that you would be in the beginning. The reason that I love that appraisal is because when that moment comes in, it's the greatest opportunity for you to leverage that relationship, because undoubtedly they're going to thank you for either helping them with the home, helping them through the process, helping them renegotiate the price with the realtor, or in some fashion they're going to come back and say thank you. The opportunity to turn around and tell your clients how important it is for them to refer you is so easy, but it doesn't happen just at that moment. You've got to go back to the beginning when you first meet with them and set the stage. That's why, Richard, I love those videos that you're producing, but I think you'll be missing the boat if you don't use those videos as an opportunity to listen to those wow and thank you statements that they have. Because if you're not taking the step past the video and then saying, hey, I appreciate you noticing we put a lot of work and effort into our relationships with our clients, please don't keep us a secret, you're missing out on the real value of those videos. Because the video is great because it's automated and it differentiates yourself, but your clients don't know that they can thank you in other ways. Ryan Miller.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Doug.
No, that's okay.
I was just going to say that's something that that I have really taken to heart, is making sure people know how to thank me. And I think it was last week or the week before, Ryan had talked about, it's not a slap on Ryan or any of that, but he admitted he's gotten more gift baskets than anybody else. And gift baskets are great, but it's like Doug said, gift baskets, he said this a couple weeks ago, I think, but gift baskets don't put food on my table. They may put a candy bar on my table, but they're not the way I want to be thanked. Correct. I want to be thanked with a referral. So just letting people know how to thank you, that's been eye-opening as well.
Have any of you guys run into those realtors or other lenders that on their business card, it says the best compliment I can receive is a referral? Has anybody ever seen those?
Yeah.
Richard, you have too?
Oh yeah. I'm curious to hear what your comment is on that.
Well, my question to you is this: who was the person that gave you that card that had that on there?
Yeah, the realtor did.
It was a realtor?
Yeah, generally.
Okay, Richard? Who is that realtor?
It's the realtor, yeah.
Okay. Who is the realtor? What was the realtor's name?
Oh, boy. Okay, I see where you're going.
Here's the point, and this is the point I want to drive home emphatically. Just because you put it on your business card doesn't make you a referable person.
Right.
The fact that it's on your business card and you don't set the stage for it means that you're not truly embracing the mindset of what it means to be a referable person.
Right.
The reality is that when anybody puts it on their card, I feel like I'm being sold something. It feels uncomfortable to me because you're asking me on paper for a referral and you haven't earned the right, nor do I think or believe at the moment that I'm reading it that you're a referable person.
Right.
That's why I need to explain repeatedly how important it is to set the stage. You can't come at somebody and tell them that you want a referral because you haven't built and set the stage to ask for it. That's why when we talk moving forward about creating referable moments or orchestrating referable moments, anytime a client acknowledges something that you've done is a referable moment. Anytime a client says, wow, and thank you, and I appreciate it, and that's amazing, those are the moments that we can turn around and capitalize on because they're opening the door for you to tell them how they can thank you. The problem is that if we haven't set the stage that that's how our business works, that comes across somewhat artificially. It feels like you're selling them, and it feels like you've changed the agreement that they've started this process with you under. They've agreed to work with you because of your rates and because of your fees and because of who you are. But they didn't agree to work with you because you are going to request a referral from them. But back to Mark's point, why are we not asking them? Why are we not setting the stage? The difficulty starts with our own insecurities, the mindset that we have, and our belief system that we deserve it. And that's really what most of our calls have been up to this point, and Mark has attested to that. The reality is that in order for you to set the stage and capitalize on those referable moments that we all create, we create them most of the time by happenstance. We create them accidentally, and we don't know what to do with it when it happens because we're so afraid that we're not deserving of it.
Right.
And all I want you guys to realize is the lead tracker is the foundational piece that tracks your business so you know what you're successful at and what you aren't. Right now, Mark's got a lot of business in the door. The problem is he's got 0 current client referrals. Well, if Mark, you don't feel like you want to pick up the phone and talk to your realtors anymore, and you don't know where to get your business from, I would challenge you to go, you've got 16 people or 14 people on this sheet that you could literally pick up the phone and say, how can I help you today? Find anything to fill a need. Make a conversation about them and see what you can do to learn about them and how you might be able to help them out. Do you not think that a single one of these people could use a mover or moving boxes or packing paper or 100 different other things that you guys know that they're going to need in the next 30 to 60 days? And I'm sure you have relationships with people who you can refer to them, who in turn can refer you business. There's just so many ways of creating deeper and meaningful relationships with just your active pipeline that we miss the boat on it because we feel like we've got to go out there and knock on doors every single day to keep pushing ourselves. And Thor's hammer is great. I'm not knocking Thor's hammer. Thor's hammer in one respect is a pillar of your business. My pillar, my biggest and strongest pillar that I've ever used was my past clients and my database and my current clients. That's where my skill set really kind of was, really took off. It wasn't with realtors. So all I'm coaching you guys on is you work so hard to develop these realtor relationships and you get this business in, but why are we not capitalizing on the people that have already agreed to do business with us? And then once they've agreed to do business with us, why are we not creating an agreement between both parties that says that if they expect you to deliver the rate, deliver the closing time, deliver the closing date, deliver the costs as agreed to in the beginning, why are we okay just saying you can set all the expectations and I can't expect anything from you?
Right.
And how you articulate that to your clients is to the point that Mark was making earlier. In the initial consultation, there are so many things that you can say that allow you to set the stage so that your clients see you as being something more than a commodity and see you as being a trusted advisor. And that is where, when you become connected to their limbic brain, their emotional side of their being, that you become that friend or that consultative person or the person they trust, and they don't ask questions. They don't beat you up over the commodities of the business. They look to you because you've taken the pressure off of them. I used an analogy last week about Home Depot. Richard, you've been to Home Depot, right? You're a homeowner, right?
Yeah, sure.
Have you ever built a have you ever worked on a project that you really knew very little about?
Which one do you want to start with?
Right. Me too. And so the point of the matter is that if you walked into Home Depot and you were going to try to build a play structure for your kids or a tree house, and you walked into Home Depot and you knew that Home Depot offered you everything you could possibly need to build it, except how to build it, it would be a little intimidating to figure it out on your own. But if you walked into Home Depot and somebody greeted you at the door and said, "Hey, Mr. Riano, welcome to Home Depot. What are you here for today?" "I got to build a tree house for my kids." "You know what, Mr. Riano? I've built probably 250 of those. Let me walk you through the store and show you where all the tools and things are that you need. And I've also figured out some shortcuts that might help you figure out where to put it on the tree. Do you mind if I tag along with you and make sure that this process is really easy and kind of consult you through the entire way?"
Sure, and I have a six-pack waiting for you when you get done.
Right. Do you ask that guy at Home Depot, what's the cheaper material? Where can I cut corners? Where do I go
Right.
so that I don't have to? You're not commoditizing the process anymore. You're not worrying about the expense of the nail. You're not worrying about, because you found somebody that's taking the biggest part of the process off your plate, and that is the what actually has to happen in the sequence, and you're not stressed out anymore. The anxiety that you have has been eliminated because you found somebody that is really going to, I don't want to say read your mind, but they know the pitfalls and the struggles and the challenges that you're going through before you even deal with them. So when we sit in front of our clients and start bringing up the questions that we know that they're already asking, we become more approachable. We become more credible. When I sit across the table from my clients, I tell them, as much as you guys are interviewing me to take on your mortgage, I'm kind of interviewing you because I need to make sure that you're the right client for my business. You don't think at that moment they don't look at me as being somebody who isn't a salesman anymore. They're not looking at me like a commodity because I've just told them one of the fears that I know that they're thinking. I've addressed that white elephant in the room.
Right.
Because I've also told them why they should work with me. I already know that in their mind they're thinking, well, I hope we like him because I really would like to work with him, but we don't know why we're going to work with him yet. I deal with that before I talk about mortgages. Mark, you know this. Before we talk about anything with regards to pay stubs and bank statements, I tell them why I do what I do and how I do it and what it is that I expect from them, so that once I get that agreement, once I get that emotional agreement, that commitment from them in their soul, that they understand that I'm going to deliver on what I promised and that I expect them to be an advocate of my business, then as we move through the loan process, it becomes less about the details. It becomes more about making sure that I deliver what I promise and that I'm open and honest and I'm trustworthy.
Right.
Tell me that if you didn't have that conversation with every one of your clients in the very beginning, that you couldn't capitalize on the relationships that you've got in process to get at least a current client referral once a month.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's time well spent, money well earned.
And to be honest, it's the easiest way to do it because you're not out there talking to people that don't already know you and like you. Getting a referral from a past client is not the same as getting a lead from a realtor. Can we agree on that?
Oh goodness, yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Who would you rather work with? A realtor referral? That is, a realtor lead, which is a name and a phone number, say, in knowing full well that possibly that realtor has referred them out to 2 other lenders? Or do you think your friend or your past client or current client is referring them to 3 other lenders at the same time that they endorse you?
Right, right.
Oh, the tone of that call is just so different. I mean, it's just, I had one yesterday. Previous client had referred somebody over to me, and it's just, it's like, all right, you're the guy. What do I need to do for you now? Instead of, okay, you're one of 3 guys. What can you do for me? It was
correct.
It was, hey, I was referred to you by so and so. He said you took great care of him. So what do I need to get started?
Right. And that's a perfect opportunity to not have to convince them. It's like, well, let me tell you a little bit about me before we get started. And you just have to say,
Yep.
listen, I want you to go back to so-and-so. I want you to say thank you, and my job is to get you to become that advocate of my business like your friend is. Is that simple enough? Yes. Let's get into the mortgage stuff.
Right.
Absolutely, the exact script I used.
Great. So I want you guys to get out a piece of paper and a pen real quick because we only got a couple minutes left. I want to share something with you that I worked on since our last call. Let me know when you guys are ready.
All right.
The next time you guys pick up the telephone and or in a meeting with a client, I want you to write out this word. I want you to number it 1 through 7, and next to 1, I want you to write S. Next to 2, I want you to write U. Next to 3, C. Number 4, write C. 5, E. 6, S. 7S. What does that word spell?
Success.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number 1, this is what I do for you, and this is how I would communicate it to my clients. What I first do for you is I seek to understand. I seek to peel away the layers of the onion. I'm your consultant. My job is to understand your wants, your goals, and your needs. As a highly trained consultant and a man with many years of experience, I'm going to ask you questions that are going to seem uncomfortable. But the reason I ask them is because I've learned in this business that if you don't tell me the honesty and the truth that I need, it comes up at a time that never is enjoyable. That's an honest conversation to have with somebody. Number 2, the U is I utilize my knowledge. I utilize my knowledge because the goal that I have for you is to help structure and design a loan product and process that best fits your goals of your family. 3 is I contract and I negotiate, which means that I put together the best mortgage opportunity for you, and I negotiate the process with the bank to get through these conditions that undoubtedly we're going to run into. But my experience has trained me how to get through most of them with as very little headache as possible. The other part of it is that the next one, which is 4, is I coordinate the transactional details. I oversee all the details. As much as we would like to think that the realtors and the sellers are all on the same page, a lot of times they're not thinking about the details that we have to in order to get your loan to closing. I oversee all the details by helping to manage your fears and expectations. We establish a closing date. That's what the number 5 is, the E, establishing a closing date. I know your contract says X, but the reality is we map out your timeline. I'll show you something here. Let's see if I got it. I want to show you guys this. Where is it?
This is a little of what you touched on with me once before, and I'll say it out loud for Mark's sake. Is you know, if you see a holiday, or you see a pipeline report, or you see any kind of feedback that operational hurdles could come about that you can plan for ahead of time by changing the date, people just naturally choose end of the month, just out of habit more of anything else in transition and realtor recommendation. But that doesn't always necessarily have to be the case. It can be a date of which both can agree is comfortable for both parties. And that was a great input you gave me, Doug, one day in our conversation about that, in managing workflow, managing pipelines, expectations, and operational, nuances that come about with volume. I mean, we're a growing company. It's going to happen, regardless of how, you want to meet their expectation. You have to set it correctly, and it's not always the end of the month. I mean, that.
Correct. And so what I love doing is I love opening up. I have this presentation that I used to use. It's all about helping to set the expectation up in the beginning. When you talk about establishing a closing date, I love going through this timeline that I have written here. This is really awesome because it breaks down the start where you pre-qualify, and it goes through the entire stage of the entire process all the way through the point of clear to close, closing documents sent, HUD approval. I mean, it talks about everything. The beautiful part about this is once you help them see what is traditionally the unseen, you don't have any other surprises. You don't have to pick up the telephone and tell them that we're not closing because of these reasons. I give them the 86 things that could potentially go wrong in your process. We go through it.
That's all you came up with was 86?
There's more, I'm sure.
I thought that was just on the first week.
Right. But the point is this. The beautiful part is that when I give them a copy of this when they leave, how easy is it to pick up the telephone and go, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Riano, can you do me a favor? Remember that document I gave you called the turbulence? Can you go grab it? I want you to look at number 7. Number 7, overtime income not allowed by underwriter for qualifying. Remember when I told you that the overtime was going to be in question? Well, it is. There's no way that they can be angry or mad or frustrated because you blindsided them. True?
True.
Absolutely.
So again,
can you share this document with us?
No way, buddy. I'm not giving you all my secrets. Absolutely. I'll actually email you the entire PowerPoint presentation. But the point is that when you establish a closing date, there's a whole process about dealing with it. Your clients only know that they're buying a house. They don't realize that there are literally 100 things that could go wrong that could impact the closing date. So it's up to us to help them establish that. The next one for the last 2 letters, S&S, is set up a moving date. Talk to them about when they plan on moving so that you're not blindsided. Oh, we're going to Europe on September 5th, and if we don't close, we're getting the hell out of town and we won't be able to close for 3 weeks. Those are conversations that a consultant asks. Those are the conversations that you deal with in the beginning when the contract becomes approved. And then the last one, this is the biggest. Setting up a lifetime relationship with them. Understanding that throughout the entire process, you have a chance to develop a friendship with somebody because you've helped manage their fears and their expectations. And to be honest, my friends, that is why we get paid, the money we get paid. We don't get paid till all 1003s. We don't get paid the money we make because we're, better looking than anybody else or smarter than anybody else. Our paycheck seriously comes from our ability to help our clients manage their fears and expectations. When you walk into Home Depot and you want to build a tree house and you meet somebody who's done 250 of them, you're not worried about the price of a nail.
That's true.
That's good. That's
Gentlemen,
good. Hey, quick, I missed the S on number 6. I got the last one, but I missed I was listening to the conversation, obviously, but I didn't write the main line then.
Richard, do you want to answer that?
6S, set up a moving date.
Set up moving dates. The setting up moving dates is the whole point of how many times have we been in situations where the realtors pinch our nuts because they tell us that everybody's leaving.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying this that you have to have it just with your client. It's calling up the realtors and saying, hey, listen, the closing date, here's the reality. It's the holiday weekend. People are going to be leaving. What are the realities today around your buyers and your sellers so that you're not having to put up with the whole he's leaving out of town, he's got a work trip, all the crap that we hear about all the time. That is all eliminated when you deal with it in the beginning.
Yeah.
So if you follow that acronym of success, and you check it off at every file that you work with, come on, guys, tell me it doesn't deepen and make your business with your clients that much more powerful when you've gone through all of those seven statements with your clients in the beginning. It's a checklist. It's called success for a reason. You want a successful closing and you want your clients to send you referrals down the road and have a lifelong relationship with them, well, follow that checklist. Without it, you guys are going to be reactive to your business and you're going to be chasing your tail and you're never going to be a referable person.
Well, the underlying benefit I see is that the amount of calls that are minimized from status, from updates, or from any of that kind of expectation because it's all laid out. Here's the roadmap.
Right. More importantly, it puts you in the role of being the consultant. When you're the consultant, you're not worried about just taking orders from everybody else. Guys, we are so much more educated and much more knowledgeable than these realtors that are out there in the marketplace, and we're so much more knowledgeable and educated than the buyers that are out there in the marketplace. So why do we assume that we have to be everybody's redheaded stepchild? And so what I'm getting at is the conversation that you use in the beginning again, it sets the stage for you to orchestrate referral moments. Everything that I'm teaching you guys and everything that I'm communicating to you guys about is being able to set the stage so that when those moments, and you know when those moments are there, you know when a client is thinking of you as being the cat's meow. Why are we not asking our clients at that point? And largely it's due because we haven't earned the right in our heads, and we don't believe that the client will receive it because we haven't set the stage.
Right, right.
Yeah, this document here with this 80-some points, whatever many numbers, that's really a powerful deal. If you were to give that to the borrower, they're going to say, "Holy crap, Mark has to manage all of this for me."
Well,
and then when one thing comes up, like overtime or whatever that one thing is, instead of, oh my gosh, they're jacking up my paperwork, they're looking at it more of, hell, out of 80-something deals, we only had to deal with one issue or two issues. Mark did a great job of getting this flight landed.
Well, and again, that goes back to the story in the beginning. When you talk to them about how you work, you have the permission to reject my services. The process is like flying on a plane. There might be some turbulence. Here are the turbulence. Let's talk about them. As you go through the process, here's Fred the head, the reticular activator. Here's what it means. There's what I mean. I need you to refer me. Then you go into, the stages of the process, and then you talk about the file flow, and you talk about all the things that go on. And then you have the permission to do anything or do this on your own. And the last is, because we depend on your referrals, we would love to help more great people out just like you. I mean, it's not an overly complicated process, but it's the checks and balances of making sure that you hit on these points through the process until you've learned how to bring them up in such a way that you don't have to follow a PowerPoint presentation. Now it can just be you hand them the turbulence letter before they leave. Now it becomes you hand them a copy of this and go over it with them in front of a calendar.
Right. Well, you add value with those 86 points is what I see. I see a dollar sign attached to every one of those things that I have to manage, and that's why I'm getting paid.
Right, but you're adding more than value, my friend. You're making yourself you're developing a relationship with these people because it shows them that you care. If you were to sit down and look at every other lender that competes against you in your market, I would challenge you that not a single one of the lenders that you compete against articulates what you say any better than you do, but what you say is what makes the world a difference between you and the guy down the street. And I'm not saying things that people don't already know. I'm just speaking to things that they feel. I'm dealing with the conversations in their life that they're afraid to ask, don't know how to ask, because they're feeling nervous and they've got a lot of anxiety. But by addressing these things, you're taking one little piece off of their plate. You're walking into Home Depot and the guy or gal is taking your hand and showing you all the techniques and strategies to build a treehouse. Man, you're taking the pressure off of them, and tell me at that point, you're not the best doctor in the world at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
You're adding value, but you're adding the opportunity to leverage the relationship for future business if you ask.
Sure.
Gentlemen, that's all I got for you today.
That's enough. You got the head spinning.
All right, two items I would love to see. One, Mark, your spreadsheet tracker, because my September is your May.
I'll send
so
it to you, buddy.
My September is your May. In other words, I'm at where you were in May in regards to managing workflow and getting this thing turned around. So I'd love to have that input from that side of things. I see it as a great tool. And then, of course, Doug, the stuff you shared with us today in this PowerPoint would be helpful as well.
I'll send the entire PowerPoint to you guys.
Yeah.
Take the stuff out of it that you want if you don't need it, or if you just want the outline or this file flow process here and the turbulence stuff. I'll send that to you. Whatever you guys want.
All right. Sounds good.
Hey, real quick on one thing that I was going to ask is on that video. How are you sending that out? Is it linked to a YouTube video, or is it through some video email system?
We just do a hyperlink.
Yeah, hyperlink to a YouTube video is the easiest because you can just record it, post it to YouTube, and then you get the link, and then you can just send it in an email out that way.
Right, right.
Yeah,
And
I've
here's
done it
the
that
key.
way before. I just didn't know if you had. How does the company send out their emails? I forgot their
Through
video
MailChimp.
emails.
I think it's through MailChimp.
BombBomb.
I thought it was either MailChimp or BombBomb. Yeah, might be.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what, the video is fantastic, and it works really, really well. But the best part about the video is that after the video goes out, your team calls them up and says, hey, did you get the video?
Absolutely.
And the conversation is, oh, yeah, what a great deal. Oh, that's awesome. You know what? We really want you guys to know we care so much about you that, you know, please, it's so important that you guys are out there telling people about our services. Forget about the appraisal. Just reiterate the whole message of they'll love the video. They'll tell your team they love the video. So teach your team to say, please don't keep us a secret. That's the whole reason for the video. The video just helps orchestrate the referral moment without you having to think about it. You just need to train your staff to capitalize on those moments to ask for referrals.
Absolutely.
Dude, this video thing could really, you could do this like when you first get a contract.
Absolutely.
And send it to the realtors involved, and
it's endless. The opportunities are endless.
Yeah.
And Mark, I for what it's worth, Mark, I mean, I use it to not have to consistently repeat the same things over and over that get asked on every transaction.
Yeah.
And I have an email signature similar to that set up pre-template to where I just pick the signature that's appropriate for the message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I use video like just for information stuff out on the internet, but I've never really done any of these information type videos for people involved in the transaction. I mean, there's at least four or five opportunities for you to send out a video to ask for business that way.
Right. Well, and to Doug's point, he setting the stage, having the video is great, but I agree, Doug. You got to then loop back around with the message still being that resounding, hey, where's the business?
Well, yeah. I mean, just you got to realize that when somebody says, hey, thank you for the video, that was awesome. That's an opportunity for them to go, thank you guys for noticing. It takes a lot of effort and work for us to make sure that we're communicating effectively to our clients. You know how important referrals are to us. You know that Richard counts on you to keep advocating his business. Can you promise us that you won't keep us a secret as you tell your friends and your family that you're home appraised?
Can I count on you? No,
Why are
I'm
you
not,
laughing?
because I'm hearing you and another voice in my head that I'm chuckling only because I'm like, damn it, I know this shit. I need to be doing it.
Right. Well, the difference is that if you know you need to do it and you're not, it's because you're okay with where you're at.
No. Oh, hold on. Oh,
I want you
body
to say
blow.
it out loud.
Body blow.
I want you to say it out loud for everybody to hear that I'm okay with where I'm at. That's why I'm not doing what I need to be doing.
I'm okay where I'm at, so I need to be doing that so I can get out of the rut that I'm in.
Bingo. So when the email says I'm looking for low-hanging fruit, Mark and Richard both, I now just taught you the best way to go find your low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
All right, guys.
I'm going to get my video camera right now.
All right, buddy. Hopefully you're not pulling a Jared from Subway.
Oh.
No, I'm not doing that.
Oh my God, that was too much. All right, gentlemen, you guys have a great afternoon. Thanks for attending, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right, Doug. Thanks so much.